Hey everyone, Morgan Zaretsky here of Naturessence Personal Wellness Coaching, where you can go to learn the 6 nature steps that I use to get off antidepressants and learn to love my life. I have another reading, another journal article here today from the Journal of Environmental Psychology, and it is called Exposure to Restorative Environments Helps Restore Attention Capacity. It works off the same kind of attention restoration theory and the idea of that you have voluntary and involuntary attention. It's along similar lines of the last video I did, cognitive benefits of interacting with nature from psychological science. So I highly recommend that you go and watch that video if you like this one, or if you need maybe another explanation of what attention restoration theory is. But, moving on. So, the results of this experiment agree with the attention restoration theory, which states that prolonged mental effort leads to direct attention fatigue, and natural environments renew your ability to focus because nature is innately fascinating. It grabs your attention effortlessly. And that allows your directed attention to restore and renew. So, what that means is that if we understand this attention restoration theory and how it applies to nature, we can design urban and indoor environments like schools and hospitals and places for the elderly in order to make them more comfortable in a cognitive sense. So our mind is more at ease, as well as potentially managing natural environments in ways to encourage recovery from mental fatigue, which we all know is part of daily life, right? So, voluntary or directed attention is effortful, and it can be tiring, whereas involuntary attention is effortless and allows the attentional system to rest and recover. So you have those two kinds of attention. And in order to evaluate what they call the attention restoration theory, it is important to choose a task that adequately measures your directed attention, which they define as the ability to control distractions through the use of inhibitory mechanisms. So basically to just tune things out. This experiment was designed to evaluate whether restorative environments could improve attention performance. So what they did is they gathered a bunch of participants together, they sat them down in front of a computer, and gave them a mentally fatiguing test. After the test was done, they moved them over to a second computer and showed them a series of either restorative photos or non-restorative photos for about 10 minutes. The restorative photos being photos of streams and lakes and forests and grass and all those good nature things, and the non-restorative being photos of cityscapes or urban environments. So they looked at photos for 10 minutes, and then they went back to the first computer and repeated the mental test over again. Sorry, I can see that there's glare in my glasses, but if I don't wear them, I can't read my notes. So, sorry about that. Their hypothesis being that a stay in an environment that does not require reliance on directed attention would allow the attentionally fatigued person to rest the inhibitory mechanism on which directed attention depends, and thus recover the capacity to direct attention. So, if you rest your ability to tune out distractions, it'll allow you to recover and therefore perform better on the second test. So they did all that, ran all their numbers, and found out that the people who viewed the restored environments, so the nature photos, their test scores improved after looking at the photos compared to those who did not look at the restorative photos. They believe that's because restorative environments are innately fascinating and therefore do not require direct attention. So a restorative environment is effortless to examine, whereas a non-restorative environment is effortful. So if the people looking at the restorative environment did not have to focus on any particular information, nor did they have to avoid attending distractions, so that's why they were more rested, mentally speaking, in order to perform better on the second test. They also did the experiment a second time where they, instead of using nature photos, they got people to look at simple geometric patterns to see if maybe these photos that are also easy to look at but not necessarily fascinating nature, they wanted to know if those could also restore your directed attention as well. So they ran the exact same experiment over again. Instead of the nature restorative photos, they subbed them out for simple geometric patterns, and they found that those results fell in the middle of the nature versus the non-nature. So, thus, the geometric patterns did not appear to overload the attention system and further undermine performance, such as the urban environments did. They did not negatively affect post-test performance, but neither did they restore participants from mental fatigue. Perhaps the stimuli, so the photos they were looking at, were not innately interesting and did not generate enough fascination to serve as a restorative function. In conclusion, at the end, they say that the results were in agreement with attention restoration theory, which states that any prolonged mental effort leads to direct attention fatigue, and natural environments are innately fascinating, so therefore they restore attention. Basically, what you need to understand is that nature is a restorative environment, and it helps with mental fatigue, therefore increasing your ability to block out distractions and focus on whatever you want to focus on. So that's my thing for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And if you'd like to talk to me personally about what nature can do for you, please contact me either direct message on either Facebook, Instagram, or you can reach me at naturessencecoaching@outlook.com. Until then, have a great night. Bye, guys.